good man brand. And this is more of the I'm agitated man brand. and it's a sense of urgency. You know, that's what his camp and I think he'll tell you is, hey man, time is now. Like I'm 9 years into this thing and I'm at the, maybe the middle part of my career, and I probably will never run like I used to run. I sat up in the Super Bowl, and it had to be fascinating for him sitting there with the commissioner. On one side, he's watching Mahomes going, yeah, I've played the game like that. I was that guy, my first 4 years. And then on the other hand, he looks at Tom Brady and says, but that's where I want to be. That's who I'm going to be. I want to play till I'm 45. And it had to be fascinating. And I don't think it was coincidental coming off that Super Bowl that he does his media blitz and talks to people and says, we got to get right. We got to get right up front. I got to get more help. And from his perspective, it's urgency. From the fans' perspective, Colin, this is fascinating. I put out a little Twitter poll last night to the Seattle fans, just kind of engaging them. What do you think? How would you grade Russell's performance here? And the majority said out of character and petty, that this is just not who he's been. So, yeah, it'll be a fascinating exchange here in the weeks and months ahead, I think, with Pete Carroll, with John Schneider, and then ultimately with his teammates in his O-line when they walk back in the room.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Pete now has, next to Belichick, probably the most personnel power in the league as a head coach. Andy Reid doesn't have it. Sean Payton. Mickey Loomis makes the calls in New Orleans. And I have said since they won a Super Bowl, they've had one playoff win in 6 years of note. I do feel at times they're kind of making it up as they go. I think I said this yesterday. Pete Carroll is Doc Rivers. He's likable. He's got a presence. He's got a title. We're reluctant to push back, but I do feel Pete is a little quirky, has a little too much current power, and I do feel he gets a little bit of a pass in the Northwest. Do you?
Yeah, I heard your comments earlier this week, Colin, and I thought a lot of those were pretty fair. And one of them that was really astute, and obviously you're pretty connected with some people there as well, was the influence that Paul Allen had. I think many times people looked at Paul Allen and said, billionaire, enigmatic, eccentric, not really involved. And that couldn't have been further from the truth. John Schneider had to write a report after every game detailing every single play. What happened on that play, coaching, personnel, that's the GM, John Schneider. And he gave that report to Paul Allen. Paul Allen brought consultants in, that weren't brought in by Pete Carroll, consultants in to just kind of, hey, let's have some checks and balances. Let's ask some questions. An inquisitive, curious guy, Paul Allen, a tremendous force there for many, many years. And I think his horsepower, his curiosity, his brain power, and you alluded to that it's no longer there. And that's not a slight on Jody Allen, his sister, who's taken over. By all accounts, people there think the world of her, and she's done a fine job. But Paul was different. Paul was curious. Paul was really involved. And I think that's a fair question. Who is challenging Pete? Pete loves to compete, right? Wrote a book about it. Win forever, compete every day. Who's competing with Pete? Who's pushing Pete? I think, Colin, that is a legitimate question and a very legitimate point.
We were talking this morning. I saw this morning, Brock, fascinating that the Niners. We see whenever there's smoke, there's fire. There's like 6 stories they're not happy with Garoppolo. And it's really fascinating, Brock. So here's the facts. That he's won 75% of his starts. He has a quarterback rating of 99. San Francisco, with a coach we love, stinks when he doesn't play. Yet he has been hurt in week 2 in 2016. In week 3 in 2018. In week 2 in 2020. So what that tells me, he comes out of camp. His body cannot withstand an NFL beat. It's different if you gave me 14 weeks a year, and then at the end of the year, he is in trouble by September. I do get this. By the way, we've heard Kirk Cousins to San Francisco. Kirk's never missed a start. What would you do if you ran the Niners today? You got the 12th pick. There's quarterbacks on the market. I look at this morning and I think, they just don't want to see that. They don't trust his body. I think they like him. They don't trust his body. What would you do in San Francisco?
Well, 12's tough because everybody that I really like is not going to be there at 12. And I don't think if Mac Jones is sitting there at 12, I've seen some of that speculation. And a very accurate passer and had a tremendous productive run at Alabama and a great Senior Bowl. But I think there's going to be better players, better suited for their program long term than Mac Jones at number 12. So I would exhaust every opportunity. I would turn over every stone. John Lynch and Shanahan are innovative. They're out front. They are proactive. They don't tend to be reactive, and it's why I think they've built a tremendous roster that was a deep post away from Garoppolo hitting and winning that Super Bowl against the Chiefs if he could hit that thing. And people all the time, Colin, I could speak firsthand. Okay, I was hurt all through my pro career. I never made it, never established myself. I was never reliable. I was never available. But beyond that, and I think the question here is, can you protect yourself? Not even his frame and his body. He's a well-built guy. He's the best-looking quarterback in the league. Sorry, Brady. I mean, he's a hottie, and he's got a good body. But it's about protecting himself, understanding how to. And I watched Peyton Manning play games, Colin, where he didn't get hits. You were just talking about Aaron Rodgers, okay, playing games where you don't get hits, where you protect yourself, and that's a skill. That's an experience. That's an ability. And, yeah, I think the brass there is concerned that, A, he's always been hurt, as you said, and, B, he doesn't really understand how to protect himself to do it over the long term, and thus they will turn over every stone via the draft, via free agency, via trade, but they'll probably do it sneakily. They'll probably not let you know, and they'll probably get done, and you'll say on your show, wow, you enjoy. What a smart move. San Francisco's full of smart people that make smart moves and aggressive moves.
Here's a contrarian take that Deshaun Watson's obviously a terrific player, but he's had injuries. He just had his best year. Yep. One more injury, and a lot of teams would say, we'll just go get a new guy. I know you'd love to keep him, but you couldn't win with him. And right now it appears there's 4 to 5 teams in a bidding war potentially for him. Could I make the argument that this is actually the rare moment that you could get the most for Deshaun in this moment? And he doesn't want to play with you. He doesn't like the infrastructure. And, I mean, you know it. If the quarterback doesn't want to be there, it's going to seep. Yeah. It'll just be it'll be just bad medicine for the organization. That my argument is, if you had to trade him, this is the moment in time to do it.
Oh, I don't think that's terribly contrarian at all. And most importantly is what you said. He's made that statement. He's made that conviction. He's the one, and he's smart enough, and he's surrounded by really bright people as well that told him, hey, Deshaun, if you go down this road, you got to understand the heat is coming. The attacks are going to be coming. Okay, the PR is not going to go your way. You're beloved now. The people love you. The mayor wants you there. You got to understand in time that will turn. And are you willing to play in that heat? And his definitive answer has been, yes, I am. So I don't think it's terribly contrarian, everything you just laid out. That if indeed, and by the way, you talk to people in Houston, it's not just trading Deshaun. How else can we free up some space? You're going to take Deshaun and this bad contract. You're going to take Deshaun and, give us some more freedom and capital through picks and some cap flexibility over the long term. So most importantly, because he has said very clearly, I'm done. I don't want to be here. I'm done with the owner. I'm done with the team. I'm out. He has made that case. And yeah, to the rest of your points, I think they all make sense.
By the way, you're working with other NFL stars currently right now, Brock, you are joining us to help families in need during COVID. It's called, I think it's fillthestadium.com. Tell me what that is.
Well, thanks, Colin. And by the way, thanks to, to the great people who took care of you and got you back on the air, because many of us were worried about you and praying for you. So I'm so glad that you went through, a tough time and in a real scary circumstance. So I'm glad that you are back on the air. And there's a lot of folks around the world, around the globe, and especially the third world, Colin, that are hurting really badly through this pandemic, not just in America, man. The poverty and the need is real. Yeah, and there's about 50 of us, current pros, former pros, that have joined together with compassion. And just go to fillthestadium.com. Fillthestadium.com. You can see the unbelievable team that wants to fill an NFL stadium in need. About 70,000 kids around the globe need sponsorships. We're doing our part. The folks at Fox, they reached out to you in your moment of hurt, Colin, and I felt the same thing. Our partners at Fox, our bosses at Fox have been incredible, supportive in this cause and this initiative, and really thankful. Thanks for bringing it up, and thanks that you're well and getting well and back on the air, bud.
Brock, I love having you as a teammate. You're one of the really smart, thoughtful guys in our business, and we will talk soon, my friend.
Thank you, Colin. Be well.
All right, good stuff. Yeah, there's just all this transitional stuff in the NFL I just can't get enough of. I just love it. Carson Wentz, according to stories this morning, he's getting traded the next couple of days. By the way, I'm going to suggest something. I'm confused on what tampering is. And so I'm going to suggest something next. Don't go anywhere. It's the Herd.